I love people, and I love to photograph people, and I love to bring out the, their qualities, rather. And that interests me very much. That's, I think, what interests me most.
This autumn's show at the V&A is a major retrospective on the work of the photographer Horst P. Horst. He began his career in Paris at the beginning of the 1930s and worked with Vogue magazine, among others, for 60 years. So it's a very big show encompassing not only his fashion work, but also his nature studies, travel images, interiors, celebrating his entire career. Very soon after his arrival in Paris, he met the Vogue photographer George Hoynigan-Huene and became very interested in photography and the wonderful world of Vogue. And it was from that moment on, really, that Horst began experimenting with the camera in the Vogue studio, and his career took off very quickly with the magazine. By the mid-30s, he was travelling back and forth between Paris and America, shooting over there as well.
He had the sense of appropriateness, of style. He had the picture in his head. He understood how light falls on an object. And he had in his mind the sculpture of the picture he wanted. Black and white is one language, color is another, and very few photographers did it that early, that successfully.
Horst embraced the possibilities of colour photography and of colour reproduction in magazines with great vim, zest, vigour and passion. I think that he had incredible instinct for colour. You look at his work, certainly in the 40s, his covers and the fashion images that were printed in colour with the new technologies that were then available to magazines. And I think that they're kind of astonishing. They're real sort of tour de force.
For the exhibition, we've been working very closely with the Condé Nast archives, and it's at the American Archive in New York where most of Horst's colour transparencies are stored. There aren't many colour prints in existence, so we felt that working with the archives would be a fantastic opportunity to bring to life those colour images, to reprint them on a grand scale in their vivid Technicolor glory, if you like.
So I'm the director of the archive at Condé Nast. I'm responsible for all the physical material, historical material that the company keeps. So that goes back over 100 years, and it's photographs, illustrations, the magazines themselves, corporate ephemera, manuscript materials, letters from contributors, things like that. Specifically in regards to Horst, we have over 5,000 of his original photographs that were photographed for the magazine over his 60-year career at Vogue. When Susanna first came to do research a number of years ago to begin the research for this exhibition, we had a sort of long back and forth in talking about what images we wanted to show and what images she wanted to show. And we really focused on the fashion work from the 40s, which was unique and it's special. It's his strongest work in color.
And this is 1940?
This is April 1946. I want you to see the original chromes to see the condition.
Wow, that's a fantastic one.
Yeah. Let's look at this one, and this one is kind of interesting.
I love the angle, that real kind of dynamic angle. And what you do realise when you see the originals is how vibrant the colours are.
I know, and that's the beauty, and what's really amazing about doing these prints is that because there are no vintage prints of these, they just weren't printed at the time. They could go straight from the chrome to the printing plate.
Today we're making prints digitally from the Kodachrome transparencies that were photographed 70 years ago. And we're printing those using Epson inkjet printers. The huge advantage of doing 8x10 is that the film grain is so fine that it not just gives you more detail, but also more saturation and tonality. So as we go larger and larger, I think it'll get just better.
These look really fantastic.
Great, yeah.
I'm glad we went for the glossy paper. I think they're great.
Yeah, definitely.
You can really see the range too, from the high key images to the really dark. So you get a feel for how the material's responding. Now these are a quarter of the scale. They're full frame so that we can see everything in the image and make decisions about content and if there has to be adjustments made.
They're very, very high quality scans that have been produced on a drum scanner. So every detail in the images is really dazzlingly clear. You know, every eyelash, every pore is visible. And that's part of the beauty, I think, of these pictures and the opportunity to show them on such a large scale. The clarity of the photographs is really quite magical. Once the 25 colour prints have been approved by the Condé Nast Archive, they'll be shipped to the UK for framing at John Jones in London. Because of the large scale of the prints, they need to be mounted on aluminium before being framed. And we spent a long time thinking about the most suitable style of framing for the prints. We wanted something that was very elegant and clean, simple, and wouldn't detract from the images themselves. And I think they'll look very, very chic within that space of the exhibition, alongside the magazine covers. I hope visitors will take away from the exhibition a deeper understanding of Horst's incredible 60-year career. The reasons why he had such longevity are important to the story. I think that Horst himself wasn't a great follower of fashion. It's not really an exhibition about fashion, it's about style and elegance. I think that's his lasting legacy, and a sense of classicism comes through very strongly in his work, and that doesn't change. In fact, you know, if you look at a Horst picture from the 1930s and a picture from the 1980s, that classicism and inimitable style is still present.